Hello, hello. We're back to another episode of Launch Coach Football. I'm Daniel,
And I'm Chelsea, and I have allergies, if you can't tell.
and I am heartbroken over UConn's loss in the national championship game.
That was
Well,
tough.
and also, yeah, this is the last episode. And I'm going to be 29. By the time next week comes out, next week's episode come out, I'm finally going to hit the big 3-0.
What? Happy early birthday.
Thank you, thank you. And for my birthday, all I want is a draft that doesn't include Ty Simpson on the Steelers. But we're not talking about offense today. We did that last week. We're going to talk about defense. But before we go to the defensive side of the draft, let's go to the defensive side of, I guess, just general, the National Football League. And the Colts wanted to deal their former, I believe, Pro Bowl cornerback, Kenny Moore II. Chelsea, you're the resident Colts fan here. You've seen Kenny Moore don the blue and white for about a decade at this point, 10, about 9, 10 years. So just thoughts, anything, just what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't really understand why Chris Ballard is trying to move him unless they are just, have players that fit the scheme better. And if that's the case, I can understand. I mean, I can see both sides, I guess. I mean, Kenny Moore is what, 29, I think. So he's aging. Corners usually drop off pretty fast. I mean, so I see both sides. I personally am not a fan. I still think he's one of the best nickel corners in football. So I would like to see us keep him. If Chris Ballard trades him for like a fifth round pick, I'm going to be very disappointed. I'd want at least a fourth for him if we're going to move him. But I would prefer to keep him because we had some depth issues in the secondary last year, and he was one of the only people who stayed consistently healthy. So, not entirely sure what they're trying to do unless they plan on drafting a corner high, but I feel like we have bigger needs at pass rush specifically and linebacker than at corner. But that's just me.
I also feel like this goes with your offseason. You've had to give up Pittman, Zaire Franklin. You're
A
not
lot
sure,
of veterans
not
moving
sure,
on.
you're still not sure what's going to happen with Anthony Richardson. You gave a lot of money to Daniel Jones. This isn't to me of a building time. This is very much of we just got Sauce Gardner. We paid a lot of money for him. We're trying to do like a light rebuild, light retool, I guess, because I still think they want to be in postseason contention next year. They still, well, this upcoming season, they were competing with the Texans and the Jaguars until Dan Jones blew out his Achilles. So this could just be like a light. This is a guy on the last year of his contract. We don't want to pay him like any like multi-year deal and stuff. It's still disappointing because I figure with him, with Sauce Gardner and Tre'Davious Ward, that would have been a strong secondary. Even if it's not the deepest secondary like you talked about, this would be like a strong 2, 3 cornerbacks nickel package kind of thing.
Yeah, so they must have some kind of indication in the front office that Chartavius Ward is returning. Because for a hot second there near the end of the season, after he got another concussion, he was considering retiring. So I'm going to be just not happy if they trade Kenny Moore and then Chartavius Ward is like, LOL, actually, I'm retiring. That would happen to us. So either they have some kind of indication or promise from Chartavius Ward that he's not retiring, or them trying to move Kenny is a smokescreen, maybe to try and get people to take corner above them in round two so they can grab someone else. Or Chris Ballard is just not very smart and is just trying to move Kenny for the fun of it. Those are really the only three options. So we'll see what happens, but I'm not going to be, I mean, they had some corners that were injured last year that are viable starters that are younger. So if that's the plan, I mean, I get it, I guess. But like, I don't know. I mean, I'm personally not a huge fan of it.
Well, there's not much else to say, honestly, in terms of because it does comes down to both health, what you're gonna do in terms of like who's coming in and who will be going out. It also doesn't help the fact that you guys don't have a first round pick in this year's draft. So this is kind of a corner safety secondary deep draft in my opinion.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
it's gonna be interesting. He's still technically on a team that he could pull a Miles Garrett and they just give him a massive deal, but
See, I don't think I would want that either, though. Like, if they're trying to move him because Kenny wants a massive deal, okay, I get it. because he's in his late 20s. Corners drop off very fast, more often than not. So if that's the reason they're trying to move him is because he wants a huge deal, I get it. But if they're just trying to move him while he's happy with what he's getting paid now, that I don't understand.
Mm. Well, light transition from a veteran to the NFL to someone who's technically not the NFL. These are just some of the defensive players we're going to be talking about for the first round of the draft. And the first one we're going to talk about is a guy who I feel like after the national championship, he was a definite top five, top three pick. And his stocks just continue to go down. Ruben Baines Jr. for Miami. First, it was the thing is his arms weren't big enough. Then it was like compared to Arvell Reese and David Bailey, he wasn't as like wide of a projection. Now he has potentially going back to his past, some off the field stuff from earlier in his college career that's gaining the limelight now for some reason. I'm not sure why that wasn't more of a news story back then, but Ruben Baines Jr. is still gonna be a top, still probably gonna be like a top 15 pick. It's just I don't know what he's going at this point because I've seen projections him going as high as the Chiefs and seen projections him dropping down to close to the Jets with their one of their picks. So just your take if you were a betting man, not even a betting man, just like what's going on with Ruben Baines Jr.? Is he gonna be a top 10, top 15? What do you think he's gonna be picked?
I would be surprised if he's not top 10. I don't think he drops out of the top 10. Um, I mean, gosh, we played against him in the national championship. Bro is impressive. He is very impressive. He's really, really skilled. Um, I feel like sometimes the arms thing gets blown out of proportion a little bit. I think it just, depends on your matchups, who you're playing alongside, et cetera, et cetera. If you get moved around. So I don't think the arms is necessarily like oh my gosh, can't draft him. He has baby arms. You know what I mean? Because in all actuality, his
Little
arms
T
are probably still massive, just not as massive as everyone else's. So I'd be surprised if he fell out of the top 10. I know that there was an article that came out today on The Athletic about him, about how he was involved in a 2024 crash that resulted in a passenger's death, which is number one, like I feel like that's very University of Miami football player type, like headline.
That's actually more
Um,
Georgia, honestly. That's Georgia
I
every
mean, yeah,
every
I guess that's
year.
true.
Georgia has like at least
Yeah,
two or three players.
yeah, it looks like in 2024, like you were mentioning, someone passed away. They weren't wearing a seatbelt, according to this. So not great, not a great look for him. Knowing just the way the NFL works, I would be surprised if that prevented him from going in the top 10, even though it probably should, because if he was involved in something like that, he probably should, be facing some kind of repercussion. But knowing the NFL, they won't probably unless he starts sports betting. Then all
Mm.
chips are off the table, literally and figuratively. But anything else, I mean, who knows? So, yeah, not a great look for him, but yeah, I mean, I'd still be surprised if he falls out of the top 10. I know that one of the drafts on The Athletic has him going at 7 to the Commanders. Um, which, Dan Quinn would be all over that, getting someone like Ruben Bain. But yeah, I'd be pretty surprised if he fell out of the top 10. If he falls out of the top 10, it's because people are really, really concerned about his off-field stuff, which, like I mentioned, is definitely relevant. So we'll see what happens, but he was really good in the national championship. I mean, you know, compared
He
to some of the other games that we played, we thought Miami was going to be a cakewalk, and Miami was not a cakewalk. So, and a large part of that on defense was due to him. So he's definitely talented. And I'm sure he'll translate to the NFL. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully he doesn't go to like Las Vegas or something, because everyone who goes to Las Vegas almost either faces some kind of criminal prosecution or goes to prison. So here's to hoping that he turns it around and straightens it out and kind of gets himself back on track so that he can have a successful NFL career.
they're Ashton Genty needs dang.
Yeah, I'm thinking
But
Henry Ruggs.
I can't wait till Fernando Mendoza becomes Tony Montana. That's gonna be
No,
interesting.
he's a sweetie. He won't. He'll be fine.
But yeah,
His niceness aura is enough to keep that from happening.
I see Bang a lot of times going to the Chiefs, which I think that would be a good edge rusher for Kansas
That would
City.
be good.
You're talking about
Him
like
and Karloftis.
I'll say this, like with the legal stuff, it's been cleared of all charges, all that stuff. So like we just put out there like instant till proven guilty, and he hasn't even been
Oh yeah, no, for
arrested or
sure.
prosecuted. So
Definitely innocent until proven guilty. I'm just simply saying that even having to get yourself in that situation to be cleared of charges is still not the best look,
no,
considering that someone did pass away.
yeah.
Um,
But like in terms of, I do think if he drops, it's going to be because the arm stings. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that like Will Campbell had that same issue on the other side of the ball going
mm,
to his draft, and he got very much exposed in the biggest game in the Super Bowl when he couldn't protect Drake May to save his life. I still think Bane is going to be. I can't see a team passing up a potential great pass rusher in this course in the NFL, where a big time pass rusher is needed to be a potential playoff team or even a Super Bowl contender. KC would want him. Um,
I agree.
the Bengals might want him to replace Trey Hendrickson. I'm looking just going down the list. Like the Cowboys definitely would want him, and I think we're gonna talk about that in a second with the Cowboys and Bengals. But yeah, I do think like there's a lot of this guy's amazing from the national championship game, but then there's a lot. But as time goes on, you look at more of the body type and everything. It's like okay, this guy's really good, but he's probably not gonna be a top five pick. I feel like I was getting a lot of top five pick vibes in the first like the month after the national championship game, and it's been dropping. So I do think I kind of agree with you. He's probably gonna go between somewhere between 8 to 12. If he drops out of the top, to me, if he drops out of the top 12, top 13, then I'm like, okay, what's going on? But I think 8 to 12 is a good projection, and that goes to like with the Cowboys, they have two picks. They have 12th and 20th, and with the Bengals, they have pick with the Bengals. I think the Bengals have picked 10. Yeah, the Bengals have picked 10. And both these teams basically are like, we're the best offense in football, and we can't stop a penguin. We can't stop like a freaking turtle from what scoring a touchdown on us. So if they pick anyone but defensive players with their the Cowboys two picks and the Bengals top 10 pick, that would just be like a derelict of duty. And I feel like as much as Jerry Jones gets in terms of a lot of stuff, well deserved. The one thing I would always give credit to Jerry Jones is he knows how to draft. He knows how to get good players and personnel. It's just his problem is always with coaching and making the center of his attention himself. But in terms of getting players on the field, he knows what to do. So yeah, it's really interesting. Like Dallas has, I assume they will pick I'm if not both secondary, at least one guy in this. I would personally pick two guys in secondary, but I can see him pick one secondary guy, one pass rusher. But
Yeah,
yeah,
if you're a
yeah,
Cowboys fan, I don't know how you can justify taking offense after last year. Outside of the first round, I think it's up for grabs because outside of the first round, the further down you go, the more positional value becomes important. So, if you're in the middle of the second and there's, a really good receiver available or a highly rated running back or something like that, like I get it. But in the first round specifically, I don't know how anyone who's a Cowboys fan could justify anything but defense after last year's putrid performance.
I'm just looking at ESPN their mock. They have the Cowboys picking Caleb Downs with the 12th, and then actually Bain's teammate Akeem Mesidor with the 20th for pick. Thanks, Michael Parsons. How do you think Mesidor did in the national championship game? Thinking about it, because Mesidor is a little older. He's 25. It's gonna be a sense of like, is this guy like, is he gonna come in and just be like immediately be good, or is it gonna like take a little? He's 25 for a reason. Like, just your thoughts in terms of how his performance, because Bain dominated the national championship. I honestly think that Miami was one or two good throws away from winning that game because a lot did do with Bain. But yeah, you don't really heard much about Messidor.
Yeah, no, I mean, The Athletic has the Cowboys taking Jermod McCoy, corner from Tennessee, at 12, and then at 20th, they have them taking CJ Allen, the Georgia linebacker. So yeah, I would be very surprised if the Cowboys spent either of their picks in the first round on defense. I just don't think you can justify it. I mean, and in regards to Mesidor, 25 is pretty old for the first round. It's not to say that he's not talented, and it's not to say that he couldn't make an impact, but he does have an injury history as well as being old, which
Mm.
is not a great look. So, If it were between both of them, I feel like it's Bane, hands down, no argument.
Yeah.
But Cowboys, yeah, Cowboys have to go double defense. I don't know how you don't.
And well, that means the Bengals will probably have to go defense. Well, not even they have to. If the Bengals don't go defense, it will be the most hilarious thing in the world, and it will be the dumbest thing in the world. And if I'm Joe Burrow, I'm asking for a trade immediately.
Yeah,
If not already. But yeah, every mock has them picking a corner. One NFL Network has them picking Gerard McCoy, which is interesting because he's coming off a blown knee. He didn't play at all this past season, but this could be a George Pickens situation, which is easily the most talented player. It's just like he just got injured. Um, PFF has Mansour Delane from LSU.
that's who the Athletic
Uh,
has.
Caleb Downs, like CBS has Caleb Downs, and yeah, ESPN also has Mesnor Delane. So again, I guess this is a good time for the Bengals to try to build up their defense. They're not definitely not going to pay for it. Well, no,
Yeah,
they can't afford it.
definitely not. They have no, I fear they have no money.
I'm also seeing a lot of trades, which we can't. It's hard to judge trades for like
See, I'm not seeing a lot in this one.
I've seen like a lot. I think half the mocks I've seen it has like the Cowboys trading one of their two picks, which would
See, I don't think that's a good idea.
not unless you get like a Mike Parsons.
Yeah, I
You ain't
mean,
gonna
if
trade a
you,
first rounder.
have someone that you think, has a really high grade that just, is going in the late first, okay, maybe. But man, outside of that, I don't know how, as a Cowboys fan, you could justify being like, yeah, let's trade away one of our firsts. This will be awesome. Like, no, dude, you had like one relevant player on defense the whole year last year.
I can't even
Like, you
think.
need defense bad.
I can't think it's just like a defensive player out there that's like kind of poking and prodding to get traded because like the only person that's
Max Crosby, that would be crazy.
okay, you know what? Fair. If the
Trade
Cowboys,
both of your first round picks for Max Crosby. The Raiders have three first round picks. That would be insane.
there's no way. I don't think. I think the idea of getting. I don't think the Raiders are going to be able to get two firsts for Max Crosby again. I think the Ravens kind of messed them
Fair
over
point.
on that. If I can get one, if I get the 12th pick for Max Crosby, that's a good deal for both Las Vegas and Dallas. Definitely for
Yeah.
Dallas. It's like Max Crosby in the Cowboys uniform is scary. That's a big time. That's
I
a
mean, Max Crosby in any uniform is scary, but any uniform
yeah,
that's not the Raiders is especially scary. I feel like the Raiders, though, just fit Max Crosby's aura. You know what I mean? He just
yeah.
strikes me as a Raider. Like,
Max Cros
he's the most Raider I've ever seen Raider. You know what I mean?
Max Crosby is the last just symbol of the classic like bad boys of football Oakland Raiders.
Yep.
He looks like he belongs. He's the head of he looks like he belongs to Sons of Anarchy. He doesn't look like he belongs
Yep.
in the NFL.
I
But
agree.
yeah, it's gonna be it's insane. He's still on the Raiders. This is just insane. He was traded. He was in the Ravens front office. He was getting a physical done. They just kicked him out. This
That's
is
so crazy.
this is just a ridiculous story.
Still
But
can't believe that happened.
and speaking of pass rushers, we have to go to well, we all know who's gonna be the first pick in the draft. The question has now become pick number two, and I'm seeing well, the two main guys I'm seeing is Orville Reese and David Bailey. I've talked to my brother who's a Jets fan. He at this point he said, "I don't care. I'll be happy with both. I don't care which one I get. I'll be happy with either or." Um, it's I guess I same thing. Like I don't think you'll be mad with either or, but I feel like I'm seeing more Bailey as your number two pick overall. You got anything?
Yeah. Yeah. From what I'm seeing about the two of these, it seems like Reese has the higher ceiling, but the lower floor, and David Bailey has the higher floor, but the lower ceiling. So it just kind of depends on the philosophy that your front office has. If it's me, gosh, I mean, they were both really good. I feel like Reese just has that it factor, though. I don't know. If it were me, I would probably take Reese. I just have a feeling that he's going to be really good. But David Bailey is no slouch. I mean, he had what? I think it was 12 and a half or 13 sacks last year with
He
Texas Tech.
he had 14
Um,
and a half. That
yeah.
you
So
don't have that as a
so
college
bro
player.
is no slouch. I mean, he's definitely really good.
No, like
So,
no, I said totally. Like this is one of those picks that you really shouldn't mess up on. I know the Jets are gonna mess up on somehow because they're Jets,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
and also just as importantly, I know the Cardinals are gonna mess up somehow because if they don't use the next pick overall to pick the next person after them, I can't imagine them picking like a Jeremiah Love at this point, and even picking even like a Francis Mangala from Miami. Miami has a lot of players in this draft. Miami was a deep team, but no, it's just it's. I feel like this is a a really good a really good defensive draft overall. I feel like in terms of offense, it's mostly just Love, Mendoza, and a bunch of really good receivers. While
And
defense,
Sadiq, the tight end.
oh yeah, and Sadiq and tight end. So you really have like you really have like three guys and then another five, six receivers, and the rest is just awesome defensive players, just
Yep.
awesome. And it's not to pour more salt on the wound, but and it just feel bad because the Colts don't have a first round pick.
Yeah, I know. Every
Mhm.
mock I look at, I just pretty much ignore every other pick until the Jets pick that would have been ours. I know in this athletic one, it actually has the Jets taking Sadiq, which like we took Tyler Warren last year, so I mean that's not who we would have taken at that spot. But it sure would have been nice to pick up, an edge rusher or another receiver after losing Pittman or another corner, presumably if we trade Kenny Moore. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I am very glad that we got Sauce Gardner. I think Sauce
Yeah.
Gardner is a dog. It just sucks to not have a first. So
Well, speaking of secondary help, you got along with Vel Reese and David Bailey, you also got Mesinor Delane and Caleb Downs for probably the best secondary cornerback safety players in the draft. And again, I've been seeing back and forth. It's one going ahead the other going ahead the other. So I guess the same thing in terms of Reese versus Bailey. If you're a betting man, which one goes first?
if it's me, I think I'm taking Caleb Downs. I think the reason that he's not going higher is because he's coming off a pretty serious injury. Um, but I just think he's really good. I don't think that the other guy is a slouch necessarily. I mean, I think he'll probably also be pretty good. I think Caleb Downs is going to be really good. So if it were up to me, that's probably who I would pick. But it's definitely up for debate. I mean, I don't think it's definitely one way or the other. I mean, I think it could go either way. So
I've seen picks. I've seen Commanders going after Downs to pick seven. I've seen him dropping all the way to the Bengals in pick 10, all the way, three picks.
all the way.
That, trust me, those guys are sensitive. They like if they drop like four or five picks, they're about to break down crying or just buy like a kill list of all the GMs that passed on them. Nice thing is,
Well, how do you think Shadur Sanders felt?
how do you think? I still remember like when the Aaron Rodgers draft. That was insane. That
Yeah, that
was,
was a crazy one.
and then he didn't play for years after that. That was, yeah. But no, like these are. I think you're right. Both these guys are going to be really good players in the NFL. I still think the Gerard McCoy is going to be interesting because again, coming some like Downs, he did not play last year. Well, Downs did play, but um, McCoy did not play last year. He was out for the entire season. I feel like he probably would have been the top second corner in the draft had he not gotten injured. But like I said before, this could be a George Pickens situation where Pickens blew out his knee. He went from a top 10 pick to dropping to the early second round where Pittsburgh picked him up. And then he proved that, oh yeah, I'm still George Pickens. So,
Yeah, he was still that guy. He just needed to get out of Pittsburgh.
okay, okay.
Just saying. That's what everyone will say.
Yeah, yeah. All because you have the best season of your career with as soon as you leave a city or a team, everyone says it's a team's fault. And I say maybe, but I don't want to admit
He was there
it.
what? How many years? He was there
Uh,
3 seasons?
I think three seasons, yeah. And then yeah, because then he just had
Yeah.
got traded for
Because
his
it was
fourth.
his third season was his most successful one, right?
I gotta look at. I think actually his second might have been a little better. Not even if it's not stat wise better. I remember watching those games. I feel like his second season was probably the one where I said, okay, this guy's awesome. And because his last season, he had a lot of drama in terms of fighting people and
Yeah,
and
he was showing colors of Antonio Brown.
you never go full Brown. But yeah, his last season it was kind of hectic because it was clear he was t sick and tired of the anemic offense Pittsburgh had. It would have been
Right.
interesting. It would have been interesting seeing if he would have stayed with Aaron Rodgers, and Rodgers would probably be the best quarterback he had played with in Pittsburgh at that point. But
Which isn't
um,
saying much because Rodgers is on the tail end of his career now.
no, it's really not saying much. And yet, I still want him to be my quarterback because we don't have a good backup option.
I know. Keep seeing all these memes from like Pittsburgh accounts. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna take Ty Simpson," and then it's like all of these diehard Pittsburgh fans that are like, "Hello, Will Howard," and I'm like, "Hello, he's not good."
Anyway, before I go into the depression, one last question. There's a question actually you have is does Rodriguez go in the first round? I'm honestly gonna let you get the floor on this because I wasn't really thinking about much about Rodriguez. I would probably say early second round, but maybe I know you really like him.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he is, but not the highest ceiling linebacker in the league. But I think that he is your most consistent linebacker, for sure. I also think that he had massive amounts of success at Texas Tech. I mean, people kind of forget because Texas Tech wasn't like a top five program, but he was really good. I mean, he was very consistent. He was the quarterback of the defense. He was putting up all these stats. He was doing all kinds of things. I mean, the dude is insane. It would not shock me if he went in the first round. Wouldn't shock me if he went in the second round. It would shock me if he did not go in the second round. I'll just leave it there, because I just think he has so much potential. I know for the mock that I am looking at for the athletic, there are a bunch of corners and a bunch of receivers that are going at the top of the second. Um, but, I just think it's up for debate. This mock has him going 26 to the Bills. So I
Hmm.
think he'd be really good with the Bills. I think the Bills need, a guy on defense who can, be consistent. And I think he could be that guy. I'll tell you what, if I had a first round pick and I'm a Colts fan, oh, that's who I want, man. I'm, torn up that's not who I'm able to pick because if I could, dude, that is exactly who I would pick. I think he's going to be really good. And unfortunately, I don't think he's going to make it to the second round, which just really sucks for me considering I don't have a first. But he was very, very good at Texas Tech. I mean, at one point, people were talking about him being the best linebacker in college football. Now, if you look at, mock drafts and things of that nature, it's pretty obvious that there are guys from bigger schools with higher ceilings that performed better against better competition. I'm thinking Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles specifically, but man, I'll tell you what, Jacob Rodriguez is no slouch, man. I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah, you always maybe use like an early second round pick, get like trade Kenny Moore for him for like an early second
Oh,
round.
I would. Honestly, I would do that.
The only mock I see him going, which most of the mocks I see him doesn't go in the first round. The one mock I see on PFF, which would be insane because I see him going because they have him going 28th to Houston. And if
Oh,
Houston,
no.
first of all, Houston already has one of the best defenses in the league, so I think he'll be a good fit. But if Houston uses their first round pick on not an offensive lineman or like a second or like another receiver, it's the opposite of the Cowboys and Bengals. Houston has to spend their first round pick on offense, in my opinion. You don't.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was just thinking that when you kicked that point off, I was like, man, if they don't take an offensive lineman, they have the reverse problem of the Cowboys. And there you are, saying exactly what I was thinking. So I don't know how they can't take O-line after last year's performance. And I believe they picked up CJ Stroud's fifth year option, I think. So if that's the case, they really need all O-line.
I still think Stroud's he's never lived up to his amazing rookie season. That's always going to be, he's always going to hang his hat on that, but he has to, going off topic, we're just going completely off topic. But yeah, if
He needs
Houston,
O-line to summarize.
yeah, either that or he needs like Tank Dell to come back after his gruesome knee injury.
Well,
He's,
he's running. I saw a video of him the other day doing cuts and stuff. So, gosh, you want
oh,
to talk about scary injury? I mean, I know ACL and Achilles injuries are they're not no big deal, but compared to 10 or 15 years ago, I mean, they're pretty easily recovered from, assuming you do your recovery right. Man, Tank Dell, tore his ACL, didn't he tear his MCL, his LCL, and he fractured his femur,
I
something
see,
like that. I think he tore everything possible in his knee.
and he still made the catch.
I know. So crazy.
I'm pretty sure he also dislocated his. I don't like.
Oh,
That's
and
what
his ankle too. Yeah, didn't he jack up his ankle
it was.
too?
It's insane. The
Goodness
amount
gracious. I don't
pain.
even know how his leg is still attached. It's probably grace of God at this point,
Like the medicine is amazing. It has to be because
for sure.
that's like Diamond breaks his leg and he's done for his career. This guy breaks every part, every bone, muscle, and nerve ending in his leg, and he's like, "Yeah, I can make cuts again." And again,
He's like, yeah, give me like 13 months. We'll be good.
like freaking Jason Tatum, like, "Oh, I told my Achilles, not that way. I'll be right. I'll be ready for the playoffs. I'll be
He'll be
dropping."
like, I'll be right back. Just give me like 11 months. We'll be good.
I know, like switching over to basketball for half a second, you're gonna be excited. You're gonna get yourself a top five pick. It seems like,
Yes, sir.
and yeah,
Pacers are going to be forced to be reckoned with next year with Hallie back, top five pick, and the other players that we have. I'm so sad that they traded Matherin. I really liked him, but you know, they
yeah.
had bigger fish to fry at that point. But no, I listened, like I've mentioned before, I listened to a lot of WFAN out of New York, and you have a lot of Knicks fans that started out the season going, "This is our year. The Pacers are down. Tatum is out. Hallie is hurt. Blah blah blah. All the stuff." And then the Pistons like came out of left field with Cade Cunningham, and they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, oh no." And then a couple other teams came back. That Jason Tatum is like coming back, and they're like, "Oh, okay." Um, so yeah, if this is the year for the Knicks to win the championship. If the Knicks don't win it this year, I don't think they're winning it, especially with the Pacers and Boston back to full strength next year.
I can always tell you this ain't winning a championship, even to make out the Eastern Conference. Whoever wins in the West is gonna win the NBA Finals.
Yeah, the Thunder are scary once again, but I will die on the hill of the Pacers would have beat them. If Hallie had not gotten hurt, they would have won that game. Did you see how he started? He started like 4-4, dude. Ugh.
Yeah,
What could have been? Hallie, his injury, Andrew Luck. What more can I take?
at least you got Fernando.
That's true.
Fernando.
Fernando.
And
Except
with
he's going
that,
to the Raiders, not my team. Ugh. Poor
that,
Fernando. They're gonna ruin him. He's gonna
that
get a tattoo or something. He's so pure.
like I said,
No.
like I said, he's gonna become Tony Montana in like 2 years.
He's gonna get a neck tattoo and it's gonna be all downhill from there.
He's gonna look like Max Crosby. It's gonna be awesome.
Please no.
But all that being said, we'll bid you a farewell for this episode of Launch Codes Football. Chels tells where they can find us as we continue this journey into up to the 2026 NFL Draft.
Yeah, so thanks for tuning in, guys. Check out our episode when it comes out next week. We'll be recording another one next week. So give us a listen then. In the meantime, follow us on our social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Launch Codes Football. And we are on X at Launch Codes FB. And if you guys are interested in chatting it up during the NFL draft, definitely hit us up for a link to our chat BCC chat room, where we are going to be talking all things NFL draft once it rolls around the corner. So in the meantime, thanks for listening. I'm Chelsea,
I'm Daniel,
and we will see you next week.
and next week I'll be 30.
Woo!